On behalf of Veterans in Politics International, I would like to thank you both for coming this evening. This is our last endorsement interview until 2024. So just to give you a brief overview of this process, the panel members on this side will be given a 30-second introduction, and then I will give you a minute to introduce yourselves, your office that you're running for, and then also why you're seeking this endorsement. Please keep in mind that this is not a debate. It is an interview, so every question asked of you will be returned back to us and vice versa. Once a panel member asks you a question, you will be given 1 minute to answer their question. I won't be rude and stop you mid-sentence, but I'll start doing this when you get close to the time, and then I'll go like this when you need to end. At the end of each question and answer portion, each candidate will be given a minute to give a closing statement, your campaign information, contact information, so on and so forth. So to get started, my name is Talicia Sandoval. I'm currently a political science major at UNLV and pre-law. I'm also working on the United States Senate candidate Sherelle Mendenhall's campaign.
Good evening. My name is Jim Jonas. I'm the director of Veterans in Politics, and I also co-host the podcast with Steve Sanson.
Good evening. Thanks for coming. My name is Michael Broadway. I am a senior member with Veterans in Politics, and I am also a real estate broker. And since this is the last interview, I would like to special shout out, thank you to all the panel members. The two next to me and those that on the prior interviews were here. And thanks to all the candidates for taking the time to show up.
Alrighty, so I'm going to give you both a minute to introduce yourselves. Mrs. Fix-It.
Thank you. Finally, somebody used my name. My name is Katrine Ivanoff. Don't worry about remembering it. Mrs. Fix-It is on the ballot. So as long as you remember that, we're good to go. I grew up in a communist country. I don't want to see my kids growing up in the same environment. And this is why I am running. And my opponent can introduce himself too.
Thank you. My name's Eddie Facey. I came here to Nevada in 2004 when I had a small business. And this was an opportunity to thrive and grow the business with all the unique opportunities that Nevada had to offer, both in terms of people coming and visiting here and conference and, convention facilities, in addition to a low tax environment and the availability of office space. My business grew very well. I sold my shares to my partner, and I currently do consulting work. I'm running because there's three things I want to see happen. I want to see our kids well educated. I want to see safe neighborhoods, and I want to see business opportunities thrive and offer well-paying employment to people that grow and are safe and comfortable. I want Nevada to be a great place to live.
Okay. So my first question is going to be, first we'll start with Ms. Fix-It. So I want to know what your understanding of what an assemblywoman or an assemblyman does, and what you think that you will be doing once you are elected into that seat.
My understanding is we're going to be writing laws for Nevada. This is one thing that I want to clear with people because I just learned that in the process of running for office. I wasn't very involved with politics prior to that. And people always say, oh, you're not in my district. You're not in my district. If you like what I stand for, it doesn't matter what district I am. You can help me with phone calls. You can help me knocking doors. It doesn't matter what district I am. Anybody that speaks into the legislature, the law they make affects all Nevadans.
Mr. Facey.
Thank you. So the Nevada legislature makes laws for the state of Nevada. There's both an assembly and then a smaller body that's the Senate, which is half the size of the assembly. We represent districts within Nevada. Our District 42 is kind of the Spring Valley area. And as far as the legislation that we put forward, the thing you have to remember is procedurally, there is an agenda that's controlled by the majority party. So I can tell you, or any Republican can tell you, yes, here's legislation we want to write and propose. The reality is, unless we get enough numbers for our party, that legislation can be put in a drawer while the other party considers the legislation they want to advance. So I am just one. I mean, as was mentioned earlier, well, I'm 42. This is the last district. We have 41 others. electing me if you're in 42. This is, I want to represent you, but across the board, we need to do well. And it's not just one seat.
Thank you.
So one of the main issues that we have here in this state is the general fund. So I'll give you an example. So when recreational marijuana was passed, all that money was supposed to go to education. So we raised $185 million as a state, but only $72 million actually went to education. It's because all the money went to the general fund, and we still don't know where that $119 million went. So I'll start with you, Ms. Fixit. What would you do to make the general fund more transparent and so people know where their money is going?
I'm going to work not only on the general fund. I want all the legislatures, all the government to be more transparent. Because even though if I'm in a minority, the way I would affect change is because I'm going to count on the people that put me in there, that help me get in there, help me also do my job. And that would be through reaching out and informing them what is about to be passed, what is going on, and I will count on their active participation. Because, for example, Steve Sisolak, the legislators passed through $14 million for 2 airplanes for him. And it's in order to save $2 million in repairs on the old ones. First of all, if you're using my tax money and I'm flying on a regular airlines, you better be flying on a regular airlines. You want to fly privately? Pay from your own pocket. But if I'm going to pay the taxes, you're not going to use that for frivolous things. So if I was there, even if I would have been minority, I would be to all the newspapers, to all the organizations and unions, and telling them this is about to pass. Because I believe if people knew that happening, because I didn't know, I learned it now in this process. And I believe if people knew that was happening, they would have been bombarding, phone calling, emailing, and that wouldn't have passed. So something in that effect.
Mr. Facey?
One of the things that we need to realize is money is fungible. And when I say fungible, it means that dollars can be exchanged between one thing and another. So some of the money that could have, that maybe came from the marijuana taxes that went to education, if that money hadn't been there, the general fund would have funded it. So, I mean, there is substantial amount of education funding that happens, but I don't know if incrementally we got value for the marijuana taxes that we've passed. And I know with the results of our education system, we certainly did not get value. The key thing that I think the people of this state want is well-educated kids and spending our money effectively to get value so that we see kids that are ready to go to college and ready to become adults and literate and understand mathematics. Those are the things that really Nevada wants, not necessarily, did this tax get earmarked to this particular department? And I think most of us don't know how that happens. And that's not our bigger concern. Our bigger concern is how well are we doing as a state with education? And that, my friends, absolutely needs to improve. And I want to start that process or accelerate that process to making that happen.
Okay.
I would like to ask both of you, what is your backgrounds? What makes you feel that you're eligible to fulfill this position? Let's see, Mrs. Fixit, you went first, so I'll start with Eddie, and then we'll go to you.
Oh, thank you. Okay. I am a CPA by trade. I spent 5 years in public accounting, and I also have an MBA from UCLA Anderson. As far as public service, when I was a CFO of a company in California, I was appointed to the Hawthorne Airport Commission. So I've been involved in kind of issues around a public airport. In the last 10 to 12 years, I've been very active in the Clark County Republican Party. I've held both board positions and numerous officer positions in that. So I have immersed myself in politics and the effects and results of our public policy. I'm running because we absolutely need to do better than what we're doing now.
you.
Okay, I'm a mama bear, and I'm running because I want better future for my kids. All kids, but of course, let's face it, I want my kids to be secure and protected, and no communism for them. And because of that, there is no way that anybody, once I get there, can bribe me or convince me in anything that I don't believe in, because the end result is going to affect my kids. So there is no price you can pay me to change my mind on the things that I stand for.
Thank you. Okay, so my next question would be, once you get up there, and this is provided that you are elected up into the seat, you are given 5 BDRs. Are you guys aware what a BDR is? Okay. Are you aware? Okay, so 5 BDRs of 5 important issues that matter to you and what you want to propose first. So off the top of your head, what are those 5? We can start with Mr. Facey.
I recently came across something that has been proposed in the Colorado legislature, which I absolutely resonated very well with me and is something that I want to push forward here in Nevada. It's called the Parents' Bill of Rights. Here are 11 things that if this legislation passes in Colorado, parents will have the right to have, and I think our parents need the right to have. Parents have the right to choose the school that is best for their kids' needs, to know what their children are being taught in schools, to have access to their children's academic data, to expect that their children's data will not be sold to third parties and corporations, to know how their child is performing in school, to establish charter schools, to have funding follow students based on their needs, to be able to access academic acceleration opportunities for advanced children, to know that their children will graduate ready for college, to have transparency regarding school board meetings, and to know about situations affecting safety at schools. This parental bill of rights and involved parents can absolutely transform the education situation that we have now, and I will propose this legislation if I am elected.
Miss Fix-It?
Okay, I'm going to have to use help in this one. Thank you for limiting me to 5 questions, or we'll be here 5 days. 5 answers, actually. First, voter integrity. I don't want voter ID. I want proof of citizenship and the right to vote, because some citizens don't have the right to vote. I want some process prior to be able to cast the ballot that you have the right to vote. The second, I want to make Nevada sanctuary state for the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. That would stop government overreach and would make more transparency and accountability to government. Third, I want to repeal the gas tax temporarily and 50% of it permanently. The reason is Nevada is considered safe haven for taxes. What the people don't realize, we get caught in all kinds of fees and secret tax here, secret tax there. Nevada is one of the highest gas tax in the country, almost 70 cents a gallon. And it's 11 cents higher than the national average. There is no reason for that. 4, Jim Blocky has a bill for new education. It's pretty much going back to the old education, just basic education, and bringing God back in schools, because we took him out of in the 60s, we took him out of the schools, and we are reaping the results right now. We can see what that happened. And 5, I want mandatory death penalty for pedophiles. We have the death penalty in Nevada, so I'm halfway there. And with public's help, I am sure that I can do that.
I have one question for Mr. Facey, and then I have a question for you both. So I can either do them right now or Mr. Facey, Talicia asked you the top 5 things. You only spoke about education. Could you please state the other 4 things that or in your top 5, you said education.
Can I say something prior to him answering?
No, because
No.
yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So in addition to education, really there are three major issues that I think affect us right now: education, public safety, and our job and economic climate in Nevada. Okay. Our economic climate in Nevada also revolves around the artificial interruptions that were caused by COVID quarantines and mask mandates, and in some cases even vaccine mandates. I would come up with policy that limits those and makes this a more collaborative process. Right now, the governor has way too much power to arbitrarily decide those things. And that should be done in conjunction with the legislature. The legislature and the leadership of the state does have a real obligation for public health. And if our hospitals are overflowing and people are dying, we absolutely need to, have some structure put in place to kind of fight that. But it can't all be hype and fear. I mean, if there isn't really that kind of crisis, then we should also restrain.
Okay, you want me to go ahead with my next one, or
Go for it.
okay, Mrs. Fixit, I'm going to start with you. With regards to voter ID, okay, I'm a diverse traveler, you might say. I've been to the Philippines, Mexico a lot. My beautiful wife is from Colombia. All third world countries, all with voter IDs. They go there, their picture's on the ID, they scan in, it comes up in the computer, and then they're allowed to vote. You just said no voter IDs. I'm going to ask both of you this. So obviously you don't support voter ID, but can you elaborate a little bit more on that? And then Mr. Facey would go to you.
As I said, I come from a communist country, and we find ways to do things anyway. Even now, people can fake IDs, fake social security. People going to find a way to fake voter IDs. I rather have fingerprint system.
I would like to interject. The process of having a fraudulent identification card, the thing about that is in a government database where you're going to vote, they don't scan. They don't work. It is not able to be used in that sense.
I have no idea what you're talking about because I want fingerprinting. I don't want any cards.
Okay, let me explain something real quick on a little bit more on what she said. Okay, in Mexico, there's a picture of your ID, your fingerprint is on it, and it is scanned by the government database. So when they scan that, up pops your picture. If they have questions on the picture versus the person standing in front of them, they could always compare a fingerprint. Okay, this is done in third world countries. Why we don't have it here is beyond me.
I still think people will find a way to fake it. If I have to put my fingerprint and vote, you can fake that. So I really want to have fingerprint. First of all, in the process of getting eligibility to vote, you need to prove you're eligible to vote because some citizens are not eligible to vote. So once you prove you're eligible to vote, when you go vote, you stick your fingerprint and you vote.
So you're for a stronger method
Yes.
of... Okay.
Yes,
All right. Okay.
Much stronger. No chance of cheating there.
Okay.
Mr. Facey?
In addressing this issue, I think we can look at the overall statistics. Over 70% of Republicans believe that the integrity of our elections are impaired. And I think I would agree that my opponent seems to be one of those people. I am one of those people. I think the integrity of our elections really needs to be enhanced. I think voter ID is one of the things that can do that. And I absolutely, am supportive of that. There's really a two-step process, though, when it comes to voting. The first is registering to vote. Okay. And you need to prove that you're a citizen to even get yourself on the registration rolls, not just, you got a driver's license and they put you on. One of the statistics that's often discussed is the proliferation of nonpartisan voters. And I think there's a lot of nonpartisan voters that got a driver's license, didn't necessarily realize they were even registering to vote. And now they're registered as a nonpartisan and they're on the thing. So so the control of making sure that voters are citizens is done at the voter registration level. Once you are going to vote, if you are on the voter registration list, that shouldn't be a question as to whether or not you're a citizen. You are a citizen. If you're there and if your voter ID matches your registration, then get your ballot and get it in and have it counted.
Okay. Alrighty. Any more questions? Okay, so I'm going to give both of you about 1.5 minutes to give your closing statements, your campaign information, contact information, so on and so forth. Go ahead and look at the camera up there and speak to the people. Mrs. Fix-It, let's start with you.
Can I go last?
Okay. Mr. Facey,
Thank you.
we'll start with you.
Okay. I'm running because I believe that we have to do a lot better in terms of our economy, our kids' education, and our safety. Those things are all under attack. If you look at efforts to defund the police, if you look at efforts to restrict businesses and even our rights to worship in churches due to basically overreaches of government power. If you look at the educational results that's going on in the Clark County School District right now, that's accepted. We have got to do better. And there are a lot of policies that can be implemented as the government. But the thing is that we need to be focused on those results and moving to the results. The focus can't just be on one or two fringe groups or a small percentage of the population that's, substantially adversely affected by one regulation or another. I mean, we have got to look at the overarching goals of safe communities, prosperous economy, and educated children and say, this is what we want. This is what our state's about. This is what our government is installed to lead us towards. And I want to help bring about those solutions. I have a diverse background with a lot of education and life experience. I ask for your support. I can be found on my website at eddie.vegas. That's EDDIE.Vegas, or on a Facebook page as well. Thank you very much. And whatever you do, I hope you do cast a ballot and express your voice, not only in the primary, but also in November. Thank you.
Mrs. Fix-It?
Okay. I came across the decision to run for politics because they happened several things in my life. One of them was I woke up on a Plato quote. I did not Google Plato. I did not ask for it. It just came to me. So I took a picture because I knew I wanted to go back to it and I was too sleepy. And it says, the price of apathy towards public affair is to be ruled by evil men. I don't want to be ruled by evil men, and I definitely don't want my kids to be ruled by evil men. That's the reason I'm running. You can learn more about the things I stand for on my website, mrsfixit.us. And I'm not very active on social media. I'm trying to be. I really don't like social media. I just open all these accounts because we have to as political people. I hope that changes. And I would advise people that don't want to do a lot of research, vote to the things on the ballot that people haven't been in the government. We need to get rid of all of them. Republicans, Democrats, everybody that's been in the government until now, it hasn't done their job. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. So vote for the name that you know less or you just learn, because I know you're going to remember my name, Mrs. Fix-It. Thank you. And if you pick me, you better be ready to support me when I call on you, because we're going to need everybody involved if we're going to get our country back. Thank you, and thank you for the opportunity.
That concludes the last endorsement interview of 2022. Thank you so much.